gamers, another League of Legends game coming your way, this time with Ezreal AD Carry. And this is the final patch of, or the final game on 5.4, something like that. I don't remember what the patch actually is, but it's the one with the tower shields. That's important for reasons you'll find over the course of this game. So, lane matchups. We have Warwick in the jungle against Udyr. We have Lissandra mid against Annie. Pantheon top against Blitzcrank, and I'm Ezreal partnered with Vel'Koz bot against Vayne and Thresh. So, I remember I've shown the Ezreal Vayne matchup before, but I think I had Lulu as a support. This time I have Vel'Koz. It's pretty much the exact same thing. It's poke heavy. Right here I'm doing the mouse over. You want to go poke heavy so you can shove into the tower to deny her, or you can freeze in the lane to do so. The key thing is you need to deny Vayne as much CS as possible, because if the game goes long enough she's going to outdamage you by a large margin. So while I wait for this, I was kind of concerned that an invade was possible since I have both Blitzcrank and Thresh, as well as Annie for a potential stun. They could have really did a number on us, but they chose not to for one reason or another. Anyway, if you didn't read anything that I moused over, your passive is a attack speed steroid that relies on your skills. By landing the skills, you get a 10% movement speed or 10% attack speed buff. Stacks up to 5 times, and certain skills allow you to stack more than just one charge at a time, like your W and your ult. As for your Q linear skill shot, this does not pierce enemies. It has a 1.180 ratio, which is really nice on an AD carry. I think that's part of the reasons why Ezreal is AD in the mid these days instead of just being AP like you used to see all the time in like Season 2 and so. Your W is the move that passes through targets, but it does not do damage to minions. So it works on champions, and that's kind of it in my opinion. The nice thing about it is that it does give an attack speed buff to allies or yourself if you hit yourself with it, but in order to do so you have to use your E to blink in front of it. And if you're wondering, every ally you hit with your W or every enemy gives you a charge of your passive. Hitting yourself also gives you a charge of your passive. Your E is a blink type move. It's the highest cost move of Ezreal by far, I believe. It starts out at something like 80, but it goes beyond the cost of your ult. It starts out with a 20-second cooldown, and the way it works is it's a blink, so you can jump walls and other types of terrain with it. When you do reappear from wherever it is you jumped from, you will launch this little bullet that does some damage to enemies. So you can use it to last hit. I will use it on some minions every once in a while, just to push the wave. But otherwise, you usually want to keep it in reserve to get away from Udyr. Or in your case, whoever the enemy jungler happens to be. Right there, the minion blocked me. Your ult is True Shot Barrage. It's just like everything else of Ezreal's, it's pretty much a skill shot. It is global, it will pass through the targets it hits, but it has damage reduction for every target it does. So, you can use it to get a quick, fully charged passive by firing it down the lane, because every minion it hits will give you a stack of your passive. But otherwise, people like seeing the Ezreal ult executes. There will be one in this game, I will tell you now. And Pantheon, you can tell this is post-game commentary, so I already know how it plays out, and that's how I know about the one ult kill. But otherwise, the ult, I find more use for it to clear the wave more than anything else, to be honest, and here we are about to draw blood. So, right there, we lost our exhaust, but Thresh is going to burn his right here. I had to use heal to save Vel'Koz, and Vayne is in a really bad spot, and so is Thresh. So the minions might have been able to kill me, but I did have potions to use. I'm also running dangerous games, so I get the HP and MP back upon kills, so getting those 2 kills pretty much put you back in stable shape. So right there, we have enough gold right now to go pick up a BF sword within the 5-minute mark. And I'm gonna go do that. So for my Ezreal build, what I was thinking here, most people like to rush the Trinity Force or some component of it. For the BF sword, that gives me the best immediate return. It's not always the case with Ezreal, but it's going to increase my auto attacks. And with the Q having a 1.180 ratio, that means my attacks will do an extra 55 damage. While that may not seem like much if you look at my HP here and then you realize how cheap and spammable the Q actually is, it can add up really, really fast. And one other aspect of the Q I forgot to mention is that it lowers the, if you land it successfully, it lowers the cooldown of your other moves, encouraging you to spam the Q. And by the BF pickup, you can see right there I took a nice little piece out of Vayne. She lost that trade by far. And right there, Thresh, he's not too happy. So while you can still do number on the enemy with the Sheen, BF sword, if you can afford it, is just really, really strong. Of course, the drawback is by picking up the BF sword, you are going to be delaying the Trinity Force, assuming you want to go that aspect, but if you're playing Ezreal, you should. And the Trinity will have a somewhat better return, depending on how you play things. So the way I have to, right there they got the dragon, but that's one of those mixed things, I guess I should describe it as. So while Udyr is able to solo that, the thing is he had to spend a lot of time to do so. And right, as a result, he's going to be lower level, and Warwick is going to make him pay for that for the rest of the game. So those early dragons, he got it with no contest, but it's going to hurt him for the rest of the game. There is a price that has to be paid. So right here you can see how bad the enemy's health is. They can't compete. I think Vayne has a longsword in addition to her Duran or boots or something, I don't know. And basically once Vel'Koz hits 6, you can just nuke them down. His ult doesn't actually have the damage fall off like mine does, which makes him much better for actually executing them once they're low enough. And right here we're just trying to zone. Ideally I do want to push into their tower, it's just I want to try to deny as much on the way. As for right here, there's enough minions there where it's going to push, so we need to try to deny them under tower. If we were not a poke-heavy comp, then we'd probably want to freeze the wave and deny it that way. But right here, we're forcing Vayne to try to last hit under tower, and she's just going to gradually fall further and further behind. And like that, dead Vayne. She died so fast I couldn't even land the Q to either get the assist or just secure the kill. And by secure, I do mean steal. So if I did want the assist, my other option would have been to launch the W at Vel'Koz and give him the attack speed buff, and that's still enough to secure me an assist. Anyway, with Vayne dead, she's going to miss all the CS, and this is why we want to push this into the tower. Vel'Koz shoving this is a very good thing. And if you're wondering about Warwick's death right there, he needs a little bit more help before he can actually really annoy Udyr. So that was just the small hiccup before things really get fun. Anyway, I picked up boots. I'm also going to grab the health crystal. Ideally, I would like to get a vamp scepter for more sustain, but I can make do with what I have. And that's why I also picked up the other longsword. One's going to become a vamp scepter, the other one's going to become the phage. And if you're wondering what I'm thinking this game, we have a Blitz crank, someone who needs to run in. We have Annie who can flash ult, but otherwise she needs to kind of approach. She doesn't have like an instant gap closer. Udyr needs to run in, so all this means that I need a Blade of the Rune King. Sadly, I need that more than actually the Bloodthirster, even though the shield on the Bloodthirster would really help with Annie. So right there I used the ult to secure a couple minions, as well as just prevent them from shoving this into the tower. With my 2 longswords and BF sword, I do have more than enough AD to last under tower pretty easily. So right there I secure Vayne. If you notice, her buddy here has shown up. Sadly, since I burned my ult on the wave right there, I can't actually snipe them. But Annie's here. So right there she hits us with Tibbers, but she doesn't actually have the charge stun, or stun charged. And poor Annie. Lissandra arrived to secure Udyr, and Annie was in such a bad shape I could finish her off. Now right here, I don't know what Thresh was thinking, but he was dead. He should have just saved the summoner spell. Sure, while he did deny me the gold by allowing Vel'Koz to get it, he did exhaust Vel'Koz anyway, so there was really no reason for him to use the exhaust at all. So once again we won the fight, so we shove this into the tower and we can go ahead and finish the damn thing off once and for all. So with my current score of 4-0-1, as well as the stuff Vel'Koz has picked up, we are not to be taken lightly. I can go ahead and pick up the Phage. I got the Vamp Scepter. And right here I picked up the dagger as a bit of a flex pickup. I could either go straight into Zeal or I could go for Zerker Greaves. The reason why I want the Zerker Greaves is because Udyr is going to come barreling at me, and all the movement speed I can get will help. So the movement speed from the Phage, I can launch my skills backwards as I fall back. As a result, I'll get the movement speed from the Phage and potentially not die. And I just grabbed the Vamp Scepter because I want some sustain. I can quickly convert that into a Bilgewater Cutlass for a slow active to once again help me keep distance between me and Udyr. Now Lissandra timed the dragon, so we know that it's going to be coming up. This time we don't want to let it go without a fight, and I have enough AD in my pocket to where the enemy team does not want to fight me. So right there, Vayne landed a Condemn and has to ride the Lantern to safety, because if she tries to fight me, I'm just going to blow her the hell up. Sadly, right there, I was hoping I could have auto-attacked the one minion and allowed the Q to pass through, but I don't have that much attack speed yet.
Rampage.
So one thing I can tell you about this game is Pantheon is actually going to deal the most damage to champions, but that's also because I'm like, right there, he's fighting. Meantime, we're down here trying to secure the dragon as well as the scuttler. So right there, they threw everything at me to try to deal with me. I get to pick off Thresh. That is not the ult execute I told you about. Sadly, I didn't get to land anything on Vayne. Go figure. But after that, they are in no condition to contest this, and we can just go ahead and pick it up. If Udyr wants to try to run in here and steal it, Lissandra is going to kick his ass like you can kind of see in the corner of your screen. So right there I used the W on her just in case she blew him up before I arrived, that way I'd still secure the assist. And right here is one of those moments where not going Essence Reaver does hurt a bit, because I could just auto-attack and Q the wave to regain my mana. But instead I have to just rely on my innate sustain because I'm not building the tier. I hate that item. If you're wondering why I don't really play Rise these days, it's because of the tier changes. Hearthus is the only character I'll play that builds it. So right there, Warwick gave me the heads up he's leaving. I kind of knew it was dangerous anyway. While I am low on mana, I still have Flash up, so I have one escape. Right here I can go ahead and pick up the Zerkers, and sadly I'm going to be a little short on the Sheen.
Let's go.
So the Zerkers, of course, are flat movement speed, and I wanted the Mana Crystal because that way I could shoot a little bit more. I think the Q costs something like 44 mana to fire, the Crystal gives you something like 200 mana. So you can get potentially an extra 5 shots with a little bit of regen between the shots while this moves on cooldown. So right here is one of the lulls in the fight. I figure maybe we can go mid, pick up Annie, push down the mid. Right here, Vel'Koz and I are kind of in the river, and lo and behold, there's our buddy Thresh. So he missed his Q, but Vayne goes in, and as soon as they see me, they kind of attack. So they went ahead and exhausted me, which is the smart move, I'd say. I'm not entirely sure why he exhausted her, seeing that she's kind of nervous. Sadly, his ult kind of picked that one up, and the Q killed him before I could ult him. So, once again, that's not the ult snipe that you're probably waiting for. Meanwhile, Annie gets blown up due to a suppression combo into a stun, and as a result, we are the only ones left here. And Pantheon is about to turret dive, so stay tuned. So right there we got a good chunk of poke on Udyr, really making him pay for that early dragon. As a result, he's down in both gold and EXP, and I can really do a number on him. Meanwhile, Grand Skyfall's in effect, and surprise, we killed him before we got here, Pantheon. So right there, the Lantern came, Blitz is starting to walk over here, but if he went for that, Pantheon would stun him, Lissandra would root him, and then I'd just blow him the hell up. So Blitz made the right call and gained the hell out. As for this, I'm trying to push the wave into the tower because I was thinking maybe we can pick up the inner turret. It's not going to happen, but wishful thinking. So Lissandra and I both pieced out in different directions, and right here I want to try and secure a little bit of vision. I have Warwick here to help me, and maybe we could secure something. Sadly, he's a bit low on mana, and he has no ult, as indicated by the lack of green dot on the left side. But Thresh is in an awkward spot. I was kind of hoping Warwick would loop around and we just close the formation on him. And right there, Annie went ahead and killed me for the shutdown. Vayne died in the process, but her for Pantheon is not really a good trade. And just as a result of not having everyone in proper position, we kind of lost this fight. The other thing that kind of hurt is that I was sitting on so much gold without going back, so I couldn't actually convert that into more stats. But the key thing is, on this back, I went ahead and picked up the Sheen, and I'm going to go ahead and get the Cutlass for the active slow for Udyr. Since Blitzcrank needs to run in anyway, that's where the Cutlass will really come in handy. Meanwhile, here's why I don't miss the shields on the inner turrets. Blitz survives solely because of that shield. So, right there is one potential snipe denied. And I'll leave you guys to wonder, who am I actually going to successfully snipe? Is it Blitzcrank from the top lane, Annie from mid, Vayne the AD carry, Thresh the support, or even Udyr in the jungle? Maybe Udyr is farming the wolves, not a care in the world, minding his own business, and all of a sudden a true Shot Barrage comes out from nowhere, picking him off and stealing the life. As funny as that would be, that's not what's going to happen. So right here I just want to push out the wave a bit, try to get into the next inner turret, draw some pressure, but lo and behold, the two supports are here. So Blitz will actually pack a bit of a punch. I went ahead and used the ward there to secure some vision because I was thinking they're probably going to push that out, then they'll sit in the brush, wait for me to push up, then try to jump me. That's not how things played out. So you can see the ult from Blitzcrank. It has 1-to-1 AP ratio, but that's an AD Blitz, so the ult isn't what I have to worry about. It's his E that actually does this damage. I believe the E doubles his basic attack damage. Right there I don't have the AD or AP to clear the wave with just one ult, but I can go ahead and chase them off from any further because I'll just poke them down as they try to push forward. And after the whole little tower skirmish we had just a second ago, they're in no shape to fight for this dragon.
An ally has been slain.
Meanwhile, Pantheon goes down, and I miss my Q on a stationary target. Embarrassing, I know. So right here I'm trying to get the Q to go. I use my attack speed steroid on Warwick because the two of us are a really nasty siege team. We can both give each other attack speed buffs as well as my passive, and as a result, towers will melt under the combined focus of both of us. Right there I did save my Q specifically so I could pick up the Tibbers gold. And right here I want to help Warwick chip that down. Since he doesn't have a way to CC it, any damage I can contribute will help him immensely. That's worth 80 gold to him. That's why I want to make sure he gets it, because he'll get the bonus 30 gold that comes from his jungle item. Plus he has a Devourer, so that's also going to give him stacks and that'll increase his damage later on. So right there, Vayne condemned, but it's not like they can actually follow up on that. Vel'Koz just kind of nuked them down. Sadly, right here, I don't actually have the mana to really contribute much. So due to the lag, I couldn't snipe Thresh. Well, I wouldn't really describe it as a snipe, I'd have to describe it as like a heal movement speed surge so I could auto attack. But Udyr's in pretty good shape, and Sandra went deep. So right there I used the Cutlass to try to slow Udyr to help hopefully save Pantheon. I gave him heal thinking, hey, keep running with us, Pantheon. But he stayed behind to secure the Udyr kill. I get the assist, and unfortunately Annie gets the kill credit on him. So once again I want to kill Tibbers for the 50 gold. It's just this time I couldn't. And can you believe that? I can almost kill Vayne like that. And it'll be worse once I go back and finish the Trinity Force. So right here what I'm thinking is I can go ahead, get some CS from the bot, that'll give me more than enough to finish the Trinity, and maybe I can pick up a dagger for my Cutlass or a pickaxe if I want to go straight into Infinity Edge. You do get a small amount of crit from your Trinity, which is why you can sometimes go Trinity into IE and not completely suck. But the Trinity Force is the lowest crit item out of all the Zeal ones, so if I get the Trinity I'm going to be relying a little bit more on casting than my auto attacks. For that reason some Ezreals go for the Lucid Boots instead of the Zerkers like I do, but since I'm an AD carry, I do like to auto-attack, and the attack speed will come in handy for sieging turrets as well as some objectives where the Q isn't actually as helpful. So with 2,000 gold, I can go ahead and pick up the Trinity and the pickaxe. And the other nice thing about the pickaxe is, like I said earlier, the Q has a 1-to-1 8-deal ratio. So the extra 25 from the pickaxe is going to become an extra 27 to 28 damage on my Qs before you factor into armor. So that was kind of miserable. The box delayed Warwick even though he popped his skirmishers on, I don't know if that was Vayne or Blitz or what. And as a result, the fight goes absolutely horribly. One reason or another, Udyr decides, hey, I'm going to flash over the wall and kind of stare at this Ezreal. So if not for Tibbers, I could start poking them down and actually repel them pretty handily. With their current health, if they actually try to fight me and I'm allowed to poke them down, I will probably get a Quadra without much trouble. Sadly, Vayne does have her Blade of the Ruined King now, so she can sustain off of these. You'll see her health rapidly increase. As for my blade, it's still lagging behind somewhat, and I think I'm better off getting the IE right off the bat, because then I can secure other objectives more easily. The one that I'm thinking of most in particular is just trying to keep dragon control. Once I get to the third dragon, I get the movement speed, which makes it even easier for me to kite Udyr. He's the only one that I'm really afraid of at the moment. And the reason for that is just because he's a little bit tanky. Annie has the most damage, but the thing is, I have the means to kill her if she doesn't have Tibbers serving as a shield. So if the two of us get into combat, since I have skill shots, I have a longer range, I can potentially kill her before she even can hit me. Udyr, on the other hand, he has enough girth to take a few hits until he can run up and bear stance me, and then Annie blows me up. So that's why I'm really concerned about Udyr at the moment. So Thresh did that. Vayne condemns me into the wall, and I just play it safe by going over the wall. So right here I wanted to save Pantheon. He's pretty much my buddy here. Warwick does solo Vayne. Sadly I couldn't pick up an assist off of that. But right here they're in a pretty bad spot. And I don't know what it was that actually killed Blitz. It was an auto, a Q, or an E, but pay attention folks, here it comes. Bam! So I was lagging out during that, that's why I didn't actually make any move towards it. I immediately queued it up hoping, well, when Lissandra locks her down, maybe I can just go ahead and execute. And he was dead to rights anyway with the whole Grand Skyfall thing coming in, but we got to have some fun with our globals. Meanwhile, Thresh goes down. Right here I'm just trying to kill a little bit of time until my ping goes down because I don't know why it was this high. And right here I think it goes back to normal for the rest of the game. So just in time for Dragon. So Lissandra is not the greatest of health, but we don't exactly need her here to secure this. Pantheon and I are more than enough in terms of DPS. The thing we'd have to worry about is Udyr, and right here I'm trying to bait him in, and he falls for it. So right there I hope you get an idea of how bulky he actually is. I need a Last Whisper to really tear into him. To make things worse, he mitigates some of my damage with his turtle shield, so yeah. Meanwhile, Pantheon shows a really bad way to go about things, and it costs him his life. So right there I figured Annie's dead. I'm not going to waste anything high impact on that. I don't want to use any of my precious mana, I don't want to waste my ult, I want to flash for it. And right here I wanted to try to bait Thresh into this, but I went too early. Not one more lag spike. Sadly, with the true damage on Vel'Koz's passive, he does have a little bit of an edge on me until I finally get that Last Whisper in terms of damage. His damage will actually be falling off as mine goes up higher and higher. And with that we have the Infinity Edge. Right here I'm taking a look at the armor, trying to figure out what do I need next. And since Udyr does have Ninja Tabby, and I think that's kind of it. And sadly, that is a 10% reduction in terms of my attacks. That also does apply to my Q, since it counts as an auto attack due to the way it's programmed. So getting the Last Whisper will allow me to offset that better. So right there I used the ult, trying to hope that I could maybe score a little bit of extra CS. And right here we have the means for the next fight. Due to the stupid box, I'm in the back line, Annie goes down. And I'm not going to let Vayne go down without a little bit of a tap. And lo and behold, I got the kill on her. Don't know if Lissandra ulted due to mistake or just showboating, but Pantheon will be dying due to showboating. Meanwhile, I get a little bit of up close and personal time with Blitz. Right there I flashed his Q. And you can see that he does have some damage, but due to his cooldowns, once he does pop everything, he's a sitting duck, while I have free reign to just start wailing on him. So he's talking about the flash, even though that's kind of what caught him off guard. I wasn't stunned, I didn't take any damage, and I would have been in much worse shape. He might have actually been encouraged to try to trade with me if not for that. In the end, it doesn't really matter because I do have lifesteal, so if the two of us did get into a skirmish, I would just out-sustain him. And it sucks not to have a lot of AD at the moment. It's the drawback of going for the Cutlass instead of the Bloodthirster, otherwise I really would pack a much bigger punch with my ults. But we have the Last Whisper. So I can poke through whatever armor they have. You can see a chainmail on Thresh. And he has Zonias, so it's not a complete waste. And even if they try to itemize more armor, it's going to have a much lower impact now that I have the Last Whisper. And like I said, the main reason why I wanted the Cutlass is more for its kiting potential rather than anything else. So right there, Pantheon got the kill on Vayne while I was poking down Udyr.
Got it.
And we get to replace our wards. We got Surge of Vision, and here's the fun part. Watch. Tibbers! So yeah, we got her ult out with just a Lissandra E. And right here, Lissandra was not anticipating getting pulled. Blitzcrank silenced her before she could do anything, but we went anyway. So I didn't get any kills, but I got 3 assists, and I also got to do damage to the tower. That's pretty much my primary goal here. Pantheon is going to go ahead and kill Vayne while I just make sure that we can take this thing. So right there, Blitz did knock me up. You can see how much damage he actually does if he lands his QE. The ult, not much of a problem. It's more of an annoyance thing due to the silence. So right there I use the W to get a Sheet proc, as well as just speed up Pantheon and get more of my passive stacks going. Right here, we're not really in a shape to do Baron. I got the assist on that because I gave Pantheon the attack speed steroid. And right here I'm thinking, hey, maybe we can get this tower. And you can see how much damage I actually do to this. And that's without my passive stacked. So we got the inhibitor and an inner turret in the bot lane on that push. A very, very big win in terms of our win condition.
Over here.
As for this, Warwick said, come take the red buff. Since I'm not Ashe without my own slow, it's actually a little worthwhile for me to pick this up. Definitely will help with my kiting, and my Q will be applying the red buff slow, so it's going to be even harder for the enemy to actually reach me. So basically, if you're wondering why my KDA is actually so good here, it's pretty much because the enemy just doesn't have the means to get to me. I can use my E to dodge a Death Sentence or a Rocket Grab. I can use it to keep distance between myself and Annie, and well, that's the end of Blitz. And I get the assist on Thresh. So while you may say that wasn't worth the Lissandra ult, the thing is, without Blitz, I don't think they're going to be... their pick potential goes down considerably. If you remember, the last time when they killed Lissandra, they needed Blitz to pull her and then immediately silence her so that she couldn't ult in her zonies. As for this, I don't think I make it in time for Vayne, so I settle for Udyr. And with the last Whisper, I tear through him. Once again, we have another Zonia's incident with Lissandra, which I think is just showboating. She's getting a little cocky, which could come back to bite us, but at this point we're running away with the game. I already have 3 completed items with the goal to go ahead and pick up my blade once I get around to it. And right there you got to see me hit 1 minion with my ult. I showed that minion who's boss. So without Lissandra, like I just said, her showboating gets her in trouble. And right here I step back to immediately begin the recall because I want to head bot so that we don't miss too much down there. And for this, I wasn't sure what I wanted to go for, but Annie is the one that has the damage I have to worry about. Yes, Blitz is annoying with this whole AD gimmick, but as long as I can dodge his pull, he's going to have trouble reaching me. And I also went for the Führer boots here just to increase my kiting potential. My success is basically just keeping them away from me, as you're about to find out here when they finally do manage to land a grab.
Know your environment.
So right there they had to layer everything on me. And unfortunately I didn't think Blitz's rocket grab would actually reach me, and I was planning to E anyway, it's just the timing was slightly off. And I lost my Baron buff as a result. But right there is one of the more annoying aspects of Udyr. He can really haul ass. So Annie killed Lissandra, and Warwick's now on her tail, but if not for Pantheon there, Warwick would probably never catch her. So yeah. Right here I'm trying to look at the damage to decide, do I need to go Guardian Angel, or should I actually just sell that, get a Banshee Veil? I was thinking along those lines. So right there we got one Nexus turret, but the death timers are just now starting to get long enough where we can really siege a base. And as a result, our guys are going to be caught out. We lost Warwick. Lissandra died earlier in the fight. Down goes Vel'Koz, our beloved beholder. And it's just me and Pantheon holding the base, even though the base isn't really in much trouble. And now it's just me.
Careful.
But as AD carry, my job is pretty much annihilate the turrets, especially with a Triforce. If given time, I can melt that sucker in seconds, and it's only worse if Warwick is actually there with me.
Over here.
So right here, we have the means to kill Blitz. And sadly, Lissandra actually had the means to kill him before I arrived.
This way.
So as a consolation prize, I took the frog. And I think I also take the wolves. I didn't think Warwick would be coming to the side of the jungle because Lissandra needs the blue anyway. We just killed someone here. And there's someone present in the bot lane. So if I were Warwick, I'd actually go to the chicken camp, then down to the golems, then into action, unless something forces me to change my plan. So time is running out for the enemy, not just in terms of game time, but the 5th dragon is on the horizon, so if just in a matter of moments we'll have more than enough pressure to take off their base. So right there, Udyr managed to get away, but he's not there to keep me off Annie, so her ass is dead. And we also pick off Thresh. And without Annie, they just don't have the DPS anymore, so we can just walk in and take their base. I can tear through Udyr like he's paper. He's not really much of a threat. And right here is why I really love the new War Trinket. I get to contribute to the vision, and as a result, Blitzcrank's little ambush plan does not get to go off. So right there I gave the attack speed to Pantheon, and we are going to melt this tower. And here is the end of the game. Vel'Koz picks up one last one, and it's time to dance. So, Ezreal AD carry. It's been a long time since I featured him on the channel. Thoughts and observations for this game will go in the description. The Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.